Something I think is not discussed enough, and I think a lot of times it's because we gatekeep this information. There's being in the business of EP or bodyguarding or executive protection, whatever you want to call it, but then there's also the business of EP.
Right.
So we always talk about the X's and O's. Okay, you're gonna shoot this target. You're gonna do this many push-ups. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Stay this distance from the client. Follow the box. But we don't talk about business.
Yeah.
Business protocol, business ethics. A younger guy I just came across a few months ago. I've been putting him in little EP gigs here and there. But the way I develop guys is different than how most guys do it. A lot of guys do it that old school. I'm just gonna throw you in there, foot to the fire, and we're gonna mold you that way. And
set them up for failure.
And for me, that is one of the worst things you can do.
100%.
And not just for that person, but for yourself, because
and your company, your brand,
your reputation and your brand.
Well, who's this guy?
Goes with that person, right? So I paid more attention to it after I went to the Icon training with Elijah. I noticed.
Peace to Elijah.
Yeah. Shout out to
Mark Ventrell. Sam.
Shout out to J. Cole.
Peace to the whole Icon family.
I appreciate being on that tour. But seriously though, he does not operate with anybody who doesn't go through his training.
Right.
Like-mindedness.
And I had been in the business for years, and it had never dawned on me to only work with people that I've trained with.
100%.
You get what I'm saying? Because
that's what we do. We don't.
Because I know in Miami, not a lot of guys train.
No.
You know, they have experience. You know what I'm saying? I know some great EP guys who've never been to a training, but they've gone through the mud enough to know X's and O's and things like that. So that was how I was judging individuals when I link up with them. Like, okay, I know you used to work here. I know what time that is. Yada yada yada. Or somebody vouches for you. So I wasn't burned too many times. Of course, you're gonna get burned. But it wasn't a flame hot enough for me to change my mindset with it, right? But after meeting with Elijah, he made that comment, and I was like, okay, bet. So I got this new kid, great frame, like good look. I'm like, damn, like even if you suck, your look alone,
you're gonna get work.
You're gonna get work. We could do some things with it, right? Go to the kid's page. He's a fucking bodybuilder. Like, it's nothing about EP. So I start, saying things in his ear, but I play the long game. Because you don't want to just bless somebody with a life-changing opportunity and they're not worth it, right?
They won't be able to handle it.
Exactly. So I've helped him, but I sprinkle, right? But I've introduced him to other EP guys, and I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't do it like I did Chip. Like Chip, I kept a secret. I hid that motherfucker for 2 years.
Chip. He's an offshore guy. Solid dude.
Yeah, Chip is great. Like he is doing wonderful things.
He is.
Once he did his episode with the podcast, I had told him before. I was like, look, once you go on this podcast, you're gonna be gone.
He's solid. He's been to like 3 of my courses.
Yeah, and he's in Africa right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's been there for months.
He's solid. Yeah, he's out there with the boys.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So like he's out there. The network works. You know what I'm saying? That is a success story because he put in the work doing what he was supposed to do, and he was hungry, right? So you got you know, that's why I sprinkle. I want to make sure you're trying to do something with this. Unfortunately, other guys don't have that process, so they've been throwing him into the fire. Right? Now this is going back to the business of EP.
Yeah.
He goes on the detail, client says, hey, what's your cash app? The guy's like, no, pay such and such because somebody else brought him in on a job. He's like, no, but you're here now. What's your cash app? He gives the guy's cash app. He receives the pay. Okay. Now, obviously, the pay amount that he got is not what he was told he was going to get paid. Obviously, it was more. He reaches out to me. He's like, hey, that guy, he kind of blackballed me, gave me the cold shoulder. Like, how do I proceed? Plus he owes me such and such. I'm like, all right. Well, let's first off do the math. What was he telling you were going to get paid?
Yeah.
I said, well, now he only owes you this much because you got to take it out of what you took. You get what I'm saying? That's the first part.
Yeah.
If we're going to talk first part, it's going to be the money. Now, second of all, why the fuck did you take the payment? He's like, well, I was like, listen, no matter what, if somebody didn't put you on the job and they didn't tell you, hey, they're going to pay you direct,
yeah,
then you don't touch the money and you don't talk numbers.
That's not your job.
That is not what you're coming in for.
Yeah.
But unfortunately,
happens all the time.
He's new.
Yeah. So he doesn't know any better.
So can I be mad at him? No. Can I be disappointed? Yeah.
Yeah.
But at least I know now he knows. But at the same time, I'm just like, how do we find situations to teach these guys this stuff? Like, how do you pull these guys to the side? Because now I'm blaming my friend who is a more experienced agent. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, why didn't you give him that game before you sent him out?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So like, whose fault really is it? Is it the experienced guy for not giving the knowledge and teaching, okay, this is how business is run?
Right.
Because you're assuming it is common sense. Not everybody runs a business. Not everybody that we work with wants to be a business owner.
No.
Not everybody we work with wants to be responsible for invoices and insurance and all these things. Most guys are running around without insurance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They just have an LLC. Congratulations, you played yourself. Mm-hmm. You need insurance. You need workers' comp.
Yep.
You need all these things to consider yourself a real business. Mm-hmm. So what would you want to give people information on? Like, okay, I'm not going to give you everything, but I can give you this. Like, how would you tell somebody this is how you find out the business of EP?
No, that one's you first.
Slow and steady.
Slow and steady. Unfortunately, people don't like to take the time.
Unfortunately, though, it is one of those things that, just like you said, you cannot walk into this and expect to understand the business aspects of it. Like you said, the insurance, the legal aspects of it. How many guys have hit you up and said, well, I got a CCW in blah, blah, blah states. Man, that don't mean nothing.
And,
you know what I'm saying? But
that CCW shit kills me.
It kills me.
Right. But if you look at, I tell my students, guys don't know what they don't know. So if no one's told an individual otherwise that, hey, bro, your CCW does not afford you, the legal leeway that you need to protect your client out of state, outside of your license, but people seem to think that's a thing. So, education. Here is the payout. Keep your agents educated. Kendra will tell you when we do a detail, here's the rate. Here's when we're going to get paid out. I will disperse funds. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And set that tone, initially, and then try to stick to it the best as possible. Get your guys paid. Let them know that you'll handle the money stuff on your end. It's not their job to go talk to the client, right? And it'll happen. You know the deal. The client, oh, he's cool. Oh, no. Mm-hmm. No, he's not.
Such fucks with me. He likes me.
Yeah. No, he's cool. No, he said it. No, he said you knew about it. It's fine. It's like, no, bro.
If you're not sure, double check, triple check, quadruple check.
100%, man, 100%.
So from my aspect, I don't have a security company. I definitely know about the importance of insurance and all that because my self-defense company, if somebody hurts themselves, I'm definitely liable for that. Yep. So, it translates over into no matter if you're an independent contractor, security owner, or a business owner, you need to make sure that your stuff is straight and set up and correct because sometimes we'll get jobs, we'll get calls, and it's like it'll have one name initially, another name on the shirts, and another name on the patch, and you're like, well, who the hell am I working for?
Yeah, especially when you do festivals.
Because it breaks down so much, but as an agent, you should know, especially if you're armed, because that's you, that's on you, that's your ass. If they're not covered, then guess who's not covered? You're not covered.
Yep.
So you need to take that responsibility on yourself, no matter what position you're playing, to make sure your business is straight.
Now, although you may not own a business, if you're watching this and you don't own a business, you still need to understand how business works. And I'm going to say this for two reasons. And I'm going to come back to what Kendra was talking about. But before I forget, what I will say is, damn, I forgot already.
Oh, damn.
Understand your pay cycles. Understand the difference between...
thank you. See,
between a net 14, net 30, net 45. 30.
So, listen, guys, when you go on these details...
You'll be hyped up.
Especially if it's a big detail. If you have the opportunity to work with a big group of guys, understand that the client, more than likely, is planning on paying that invoice 30 days from the day that the invoice is sent. Not the day that you finish the job. The day that the invoice is sent, right?
So
if you're working with somebody, if your buddy calls you and says, hey, man, jump on this team with me, and you're asking what's to pay, but you don't know who's paying, you don't know when they're paying, that's on you. That's your bad business.
A 30-day job, and it's net 30. You don't get paid till 60 days later.
Yeah, that can happen. Especially if you go on these big contracts where they're like, yeah, brother, we're going to give you $600 a day, 3 meals in a cot. We're going to have you staying at this hotel, blah, 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 blah. And you're running rounds, but you see 10 other agents doing different shifts. Brother, listen.
And I'll say this too, because I see this a lot, moving clients in Miami. Come to work with a couple bucks in your pocket because you might have to move a Vic. Your client may move.
Valet.
Now you're taking care of valet because the client's going to keep walking.
Yes.
The client's going to keep walking. Granted, save all your receipts, give them to whoever the project manager for that project is at the end, and hopefully you'll get reimbursed.
And understand, like, if you're going to use cash, try to keep it the smallest amount possible. Once you get to $100 plus, it needs to be swiped. Reason being, you are okay with losing less than $100. But if you gave out $500, $200, $300 in cash one day,
you need to keep those receipts.
You did it 2 days later, and there's no receipt, and you try to invoice for it, and the clients were like, I need receipts. And you're like, well, I did get receipts. It's cash.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way they're going to pay you for that.
And same thing with, like, just save all your receipts, man. Ubers, everything.
Yes.
I screenshot the shit out of everything.
And
There you go. Whatever I tip valet, I write it on the parking receipt.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I've been doing a lot of international work, and a buddy of mine, Mike, can probably speak to stuff like this more than I do, but I sent in an invoice, and the invoice was in USD. Now, some of
the exchange rate.
Yeah, some of the things that I was asking to be paid back for, the receipts were in the other currency.
Yeah, man.
So
I learned that recently in January.
So to be assholes, the accountant's like, hey, well, look, I need the receipts in this currency. Well, guess what? Uber does not translate back to your currency.
No. I had to do a whole bunch of conversions.
Yeah.
So either they can be nice enough to do the currency exchange rate for you, or you're just screwed. Because if they choose not to do it, then you just lost that money.
You just ate that Uber, bro.
Yeah, luckily, they converted it for me. But here's the unfortunate part, right? Let's say the dollar was too strong on the day that they did it. Now I'm still losing money.
Yeah.
So it's a catch-22. So for the guys who do international travel and they're swiping their cards, please keep that in mind. There is rules about the machine will ask you, do you want it in U.S. dollar or foreign currency? You're supposed to press the foreign currency. Don't press the U.S.
Yeah,
also, when you swipe your card, your bank may charge you a conversion rate of $4 or $5. So you have to keep stuff like that in mind.
Yeah.
So Kendra, like I said, you may not have a business, but you still need to know business. Because
100%.
your expectation level and your boundaries, like you mentioned before, they have to come from somewhere. Not just your moral compass or what you learned growing up as a kid. You have to understand business.
Yeah, y'all can keep that security business stuff. I never had a desire to own a company.
And like I said, most people don't want that responsibility.
We consult. We're not even a security company. We get retained by security companies.
Exactly.
100%.
And that's most of the time. You can have a agency and supply 100 dudes, and you're still reporting to a higher
100%.
umbrella.
Yep.
So when I say understanding the business, another business part that you guys need to understand.
How to subcontract correctly.
When you collaborate with people, whose license and insurance are you going
working under? Yep.
For the agency, right?
Yep.
Because if the state regulation walks around and pulls you to the side saying, "Hey,
you don't know,"
and you don't have the right answers.
I'm just working for this guy. It's cool.
or you don't have the right licensing. I've traveled and worked festivals and put on somebody else's bright ass vest and just be running around like, bro, I'm just doing my buddy a deal. But I don't know my buddy's information in regards to his LLC.
Right.
Or
what's
his
their
agency
license number?
Yeah. Or I'm not walking around with my accreditation visible because some states require that.
Yeah, you have to have it.
And then not only do they require the visibility of your information, but the agency
company
that you're working for. These things will get you jammed up.
Yeah.
On a more serious note, during COVID, I worked one of the sky rises down in South Beach, and there's that line that separates the condominium and the actual South Beach property. And we had an issue with a drunk guy that was kind of sitting right there on that curb, and I was armed, and there's not many armed guards on South Beach, but since it was the private condominium, they allowed for that. So the boss calls me down. It's the middle of the night. The guy's just sitting there drinking, and it was the condominium manager. So he has no clue anything security related. Very short, leprechaun looking dude. So he's so out of shape. Very like, I break out when I get anxiety. Like, he was a very frantic person. This guy wasn't doing anything, but he goes down there and he starts with the guy. He starts arguing with the guy, and the guy's drunk. He probably got off of work and was just sitting on the corner right before he wanted to ride his bicycle home. And he's escalating the situation now. And then I'm coming up late trying to figure out what's going on. And he's like, well, just throw him off the property. And I'm, okay, well, you know, what did he do? I'm trying to get informed because I know I at all costs, I need to protect myself. So then he starts cussing at this guy. So now this guy grabs his bike lock. And I have a video of this because I started recording. And he sees me, he sees my gun, he feels threatened, he starts cursing. He's belligerently drunk at this point. He's taking his bike lock and he's swinging it at me. Like, and this guy's back here screaming, shoot him. Just shoot him. I'm like, well, hold on. Like, wait a second. And like, this is the little curve line of where the guy is. He's not on our property line anymore. Yeah. So now you're encouraging me to shoot him out on South Beach property, on Miami-Dade County property line. Like, or will you cover me for that? No? So you know what I did? I walked away.
Yeah, I mean,
the guy saw, like, he was kind of flinging it at me because I was the one with the gun, but he saw that this situation wasn't something I wanted to be involved in, and he realized if he moved over more, I was going to leave him alone. So he moved over more, got on his little bike and took off. And I looked at the guy, I said, well, if I would have shot him over here, then what? And he was just kind of like, ugh.
So you're a mindful agent. Like, you go above and beyond. And unfortunately, we have guys who, you know, they're just motivated by the check. So they're just going to give the effort based off what they feel the worth was based off that check. You have to know the laws in your area. Once I had an opportunity when it comes to my dealings with clients and their budgets, I was able to finesse it where, okay, yeah, I know you want security. I know your budget is not what it requires to have security like me traveling with you X, Y, and Z.
Right.
But if we can do it where you're paying me and then I can actually hire a local asset.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
That'll be cheaper because you're not paying for the travel. You're not paying for the hotel stay. You're just paying for that agent's day rate being in their own hometown.
And you also have their expertise because they should know.
And that's the main point.
And they're licensed.
And that's my pitch to the client. I'm like, listen, let's use a local asset. Yep. Because when we go to these foreign countries, they're always going to ask for a local asset. So why not do it domestically?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Because every state is like a different entity.
Yeah.
I don't know the laws for every state, and I can't keep up with every state.
Right.
Half the time,
keep up with the renewals of the licenses of each.
Not just that. What about when I'm on the tour bus and we make a pit stop?
Yeah.
I don't know where the hell I'm at. If you've ever been on tour, when you roll out that bunk, if you can fit in it, for me it's the couch or, you know, that front seat. You don't know where you are half the time. So God forbid something happens at the gas station.
Yeah.
Or at the little diner that you stop in because you don't have any choices. That's why I use a local asset as much as possible because they know their information. And if they don't know, at least their licenses can take the hit.
Yeah.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. That providing vendor, they should have insurance and
exactly. 100%. And I'm not saying that every time you do a deal with another agent, you have to put them under contract. But if you can have paperwork on your guys, you know, you have a nice little rotation of people that you constantly use, and you just have them on file.
Yeah.
Somebody in your back office every year can just check and see if it's renewed. Yep. It's a 2-second process going online. And then going on about your day. But my suggestion to the newer people, if you aren't with the big client that can pay you to travel, be the person in your city. And in your environment. You get what I'm saying? Like, if you're one of these guys who comes from the club, then you should know every club.
Yeah.
You should have a connect at every club.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what
guys, GMs, managers.
Exactly. You should know all the hot restaurants.
Bartenders.
Exactly. You should know all the fine chicks. If your client's having a party, you know, you may not be able to show your value by standing at the door watching stuff, but if you can get 10 baddies to show up to his party and you know what I mean, that knows how to operate in that environment, you're an asset. You get what I'm saying? Like your Rolodex.
You know all the routes around the city. You know those shortcuts and back roads to get that motorcade around that traffic.
Especially we get jammed up in traffic all the time.
All the time.
You know what I'm saying? Like I've had clients who've had drivers that travel everywhere with us, but you know one thing I liked about that driver when we had our convoy, everybody else was local. and he was never the lead.
Right.
So that
you should just be the one driving.
Exactly.
The client. Yeah. Perfect.
Exactly. So if you're trying to break into the game, that is your best and fastest way to get put on with consistent work. Being the number one agent in your city.
100%.
And when I say number one, there's no way to scale your talent level compared to everybody else.
Right.
But when I say number one, that means people gonna know your name. You know what I'm saying? That's it. You don't have to have a nickname and all these trillions nobody knows my full name. I mean, like they don't say it out loud. Yeah. They say one letter.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And that is good enough here where people are like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But I worked the club scene.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I worked the brothel scene, booby trap scene type shit. I've worked the trap hood clubs like the Rolex, aka Climax. But I've also worked the nice clubs on the beach.
I was about to say, turning the questions back to the host. Can you speak on? Because I tell my students this all the time. Can you speak on the value in that? Because I got my private security license while I was in the military working off post on the weekends. Doors, static, doorman. But that's where you build your skills, I feel.
Yeah, especially your people skills.
Yeah, 100%.
Or your conflict resolution.
Yes.
From being, bro, I'll tell you, working the door of these ratchet clubs in Central Texas, by the time I was a sheriff's deputy in processing arrestees, it was easy.
Because you knew everybody.
Bro, what happened? No, just know how to talk to people. Yeah. Dude comes in, bro, what is it? Oh, man, look, let me get you through this paperwork. You know what I mean? Same thing I do. Bro, they kicked you out, man. I'll tell you what. Come back next week. I'll buy you a bit myself.
Yeah, a buddy of mine who does EP, he's also officer, Big John, right? So Big John is probably one of the few Caucasian agents that works predominantly hip-hop, urban details, and things like that, right? So I've known John for years, worked with him. I trust him with my life. You know, we've been around environments where things can go left, and I don't worry about when I look at John. You get what I'm saying? His whiteness in that black environment does not make me nervous, right? He's just a cool guy, right? I eventually made it back to where John works and is from Alabama, right? And I have a client who he just likes going to hood shit.
Yeah.
So we probably go to one of the most dangerous places I've been in my life.
Yeah.
I'm talking about there's armed security everywhere outside. Yeah. These niggas is they in there in the club like that.
In the club.
Inside the club.
Yeah.
And the girls dancing and entertaining look like niggas, right? You know what I mean?
Like they got a strap in their back.
Man, listen, I'm worried about them too. I'm like, she might got it on her, right? Everything is just sketchy about this environment. Yeah. We're definitely looking like outsiders. I got these celebrities. Yeah. You know, before the client even got there, I had to calm the situation down because this street dude don't want to move his section for no. You know what I mean? Like it turned into all that. So I'm like, oh, we are in a hellhole. And I swear to God, I'm standing there trying to have my tough look on because I can't grow a fucking beard. Okay? Fuck y'all. So I'm trying to look tough. I got this big ass baby face. Yeah. And I'm in this bullshit. I'm like, damn, I thought I left this shit. Like, I'm like, man, this was years behind. I ain't been in some shit like this in a hot minute.
Yeah.
You know, it's cool when I'm from here. Like, if it's Miami, I know, you know what I mean? But
you're in a different town.
I'm in fucking Alabama, right? And this dude walks up, he's like, yo, your name X, right? I'm like, oh, shit. Did I punch this nigga in the face before? Right?
I saw that video, though. That was a good video.
So, fucking, he's like, man, I seen you on my boy's page. I said, who? He says, John. I said, get the fuck out of here. I know, what? John's from this shit? I said, no wonder why he be so cool. You get what I'm saying?
He gets the barbecue bags.
And it resonates with what you're talking about. Like, it teaches you how to be in, like, John's from some ratchet shit. Like, I said, oh, John is real? Yeah. Shout out to John.
All the time, man. It's like, you know, when we do festivals and I project manage, we get a lot of D-license type guys, you know, and they'll be like, oh, you're Mike from offshore. So I'm training and stuff. I'm like, how do I get in that? And I'm like, don't rush the process. I was like, put some money away. Get you your G license. Take a class. Doesn't have to be my class. Put some work in. Get up to supervisor. You get supervisor. Now you're used to running a shift. Now put some money away. Go take an EP class if that's what you'd like to get into. Now you are showing up to the door with a little bit more knowledge on how to deal with people, rather than just jumping in at first. You know what I'm saying?
Especially financially, because what they don't tell you is work gets slow sometimes.
Oh, 100%.
You get what I'm saying? So you have to learn how to budget your lifestyle off of bare minimum, because there might be a day where you are at bare minimum.
Yeah.
I've had
seasons.
I've had some broke events early on doing this, because you know, you have your life that you live and you got to pay for that, and then you have the life that you live when you're on the road.
Yeah.
You got to pay for that. You know what I mean? Like you're going to be Uber Eatsing it up. You're going to be spending money on stupid shit all the time. Then if you have family, you want to bring stuff back for them. So you got to be able to pay that and still try to save up a nest egg, so that when you got 2-3 weeks where you don't work,
100%,
and there's no income, you can survive.
My assistant tells me that all the time.
Yeah. I'm familiar.
Yeah. See?
Yeah. I ignore her very well.
I'm working on it.
Yeah. Listen, just hit the ignore button. Women in